Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Andrew Warren, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about some more positive news recently released regarding Tesla stock. And with today's video, we actually have a pretty big news piece along with some other news pieces as well. So 3 different things to talk about today. One is about sales in Europe, which we got some pretty impressive news with that one. And then we also have discussion of Tesla full self-driving and the recent beta that was released. So we have 2 news pieces regarding FSD and Autopilot, and then another one about the sales for EVs in Europe, which is pretty impressive, like I said. So anyways, please make sure to smash that like button if you enjoy the Tesla videos. It really does help me out. But just getting into this one, let's just check out the current share price. It is currently like 3 a.m. in the morning right now, so just a few hours from when the market starts. At 4 a.m. we'll start to see the market move a little bit, but as you can see, we're currently at a share price of $386.99. And on Friday, we had a pretty significant movement at minus 5.55%, which is minus $22.79. And then in the after hours for Friday, we are at minus 0.27%, which is minus $1.05 subtracted from the share price. So anyways, with all of this being said, let's just go ahead and check out the first news piece of today, which is about a recent tweet thread by Elon Musk discussing Autopilot and some interesting news regarding this, in which we'll likely see some more improvements on this full self-driving technology in the near future. So let's just go ahead and check out this tweet thread, and then I'll expand on it a little bit further. So as you can see, this is a tweet by Teslatino, and he tags Elon Musk in this and says, "My top 3 impressions on FSD beta that we've been testing for the past week, and number 1 is it's impressive, number 2 it's easy to manage, and number 3 it says 0.11 better than 0.10. Then he mentions Elon Musk and says, "My prediction, when all is fine-tuned for final public release, it will solidify Tesla's lead forward even more years." And then we get a response from Elon Musk stating, "Thanks to a great Autopilot AI team working super hard, doing neural nets without testing them against reality has led to some groups to overestimate what they're doing. Reality is the hardest sim." And if you're just curious as to what this is referencing, my impression is that Elon Musk is kind of referencing the general perspective on full self-driving and autonomy right now, in which a lot of media is covering Waymo and saying, oh, you can drive now in certain cities with full autonomy and all of these specific things. And then we've also gotten a recent announcement of the Hummer EV, which has like an automated cruise control with some like autonomy aspects. However, it only works in certain cities and on certain maps, I believe. And that's the case for Waymo as well. It only works in a certain area, whereas like with Elon Musk referencing this right here, this is a more generalized solution, as he's mentioned in the past, and he states that reality is really the hardest simulation. So over this race for autonomy, Tesla has been utilizing real-world data, which is much more important than I think people realize. You have many other companies that are utilizing simulated miles driven to train the neural net for the full self-driving or autonomy technology for their company, and then we also have some of them being geo-mapped in the sense that they only work for autonomy in certain areas and on specific parts of a map. So as I stated, Elon Musk is once again emphasizing this, that it's kind of hard to replicate reality in a simulation. So this data that Tesla is getting from the real world is much more valuable, in my opinion, as a solution for autonomy compared to data that was gathered from a simulation, or mainly data that has been only gathered from a certain part of the world. So that's something that he definitely emphasizes in this tweet thread right here, and I feel like it's important to emphasize that once again, that this is a very different solution than what many other companies are trying to accomplish right now. The problem with other companies is that they're trying to catch up with Tesla, and really the only way that you can catch up to Tesla right now in terms of data is by simulated data, because there's no other car company out there that can build cars, put cameras in them, put LiDAR in them, whatever they think is going to work, even though we know that LiDAR is basically a lost cause. So my point here is that it's very unlikely that another company is going to be able to catch up in terms of data for real world data. So they kind of have to go the other route, which is simulated data and things like that, which is more of a specific solution in certain scenarios rather than a general solution that will work across the board. So I think it's important to realize that Tesla has this advantage of real world data and also the most amount of real world data. And like I said, if anything, the competition right now is just showing that they basically are reaching for straws here and just trying to get a tremendous amount of simulated data and things like that, which is not easily translatable to the real world, because as we know, the real world can be be pretty strange and unique sometimes. So this is the point that Elon Musk is trying to get across here. And then we get a response by Tesla owner Silicon Valley, and they state, Elon, the update feels 10 times better from the prior version. How does this UI enhance the actual improvements on the road? And then Elon responds, we measure this primarily in intervention probability. This update addressed several issues resulting in perhaps 1/3 fewer interventions. Many of the improvements consist of fixing silly bugs versus grand eureka moments. True for most beta releases in my experience. Then we get a response from Kristen that states, that's quite a quick turnaround. 2 more weeks and the other 2/3 interventions cut back significantly. And Elon Musk says, faults will never be a zero, but at some point the probability of a fault will be far lower than that of the average human. And in terms of regulation, I think this point right here is what matters. If it's safer than a human according to the actual data, then I don't know how regulators cannot turn down Tesla's full self-driving. And even ARK Invest has emphasized that regulators are really receptive to actual data and information and statistics gathered relating to that data. So I think that's an important aspect as well. If regulators are receptive to data, then this is very important. And I think this is what's going to enable Tesla to be successful with this autonomy race in the future. And then we get to the important response from Elon Musk right here, the main reason that I'm mentioning this thread, in which we get a question that says, how fast do you think you will be rolling out updates for FSD beta? And Elon Musk says every 5 to 10 days. And in my opinion, that's pretty huge because it means we're constantly seeing innovation and improvement with this full self-driving technology because it is trying to improve consistently based on the different reports that it's getting, based on the interventions, and based on that neural net being trained by this data, and then also by customer reports as well that are trying to help improve this technology. And that kind of reminds me of how Tesla consistently innovates with their vehicles as well, constantly improving them. And instead of waiting for every single new year to happen, like for example, instead of waiting until 2021 to implement new changes, they do it on a consistent basis. Those changes don't have a dedicated date in which they can be done. They can pretty much be done at any time, which enables Tesla to consistently improve and continue to outpace their competition. So this is really important to pay attention to, that tweet thread that we just now covered. But anyways, now that we're talking about FSD and things like that, let's check out this next article by the Tasmanian and author Eva Fox. And of course, as always, we greatly appreciate this information. And the article title states, Tesla Autopilot would avoid 90% of car accidents. German researcher urges country's adoption. And so just to cover one of the key points of this article, it says Tesla vehicle safety report for Q3 of 2020 states, in the third quarter, we registered 1 accident for every 4.59 million miles driven in which drivers had autopilot engaged. For those driving without autopilot but with their active safety features, we registered 1 accident for every 2.42 million miles driven. For those driving without autopilot and without our active safety features, we registered 1 accident for every 1.79 million miles driven. By comparison, NHTSA's most recent data shows that in the United States, there is an automobile crash every 479,000 miles. And so in reference to this, the article includes the quote which states, legislative procedures that provide legal support for autonomous driving are progressing slowly, criticizes Ferdinand Dudenhofer, director of the Center for Autonomous Driving in Duisburg. So I don't know if I'm saying all of these German words right, but you get the point. And it states that the number of car accidents have actually grown significantly over the past 3 years, according to data regarding Germany. And it says just in the past 3 years, the number of accidents has increased by about 6%. It does note that in the United States, accidents occur about half as often in Germany due to multiple different factors. But the key point of this article states the Car Institute has calculated what that would mean if all cars in Germany had been equipped with Tesla Autopilot since last year. And according to their calculations, instead of 281,849 accidents, only 29,413 accidents would have occurred. In other words, there would only be about 10% of accidents, a colossal 90% of road accidents avoided. Then it includes the quote, this shows the long-term potential of a safety technology such as this enabling the use of autopilot, concludes Dudenhofer. So that was actually a pretty interesting article right there that not only provided some perspective on autopilot, but also kind of addressed the statistics between Germany and the United States in terms of accident numbers and things like that, which I thought were fairly interesting. So in my opinion, of course, I think regulators in Germany really need to be open to viewing some of this data, which could be a game changer, especially as autonomy and full self-driving start to improve as we see these updates continuing with a full self-driving beta. So I think this is definitely something to consider. And also, since we're on the topic of Germany, it's kind of interesting interesting how all of these news pieces relate today. But we have a third news piece today about sales in Europe. So this is a really interesting one as well. And this article is by Teslarati and author Joey Klinder. So of course, as always, we greatly appreciate this information. And the article title states, Tesla puts skeptics to rest after a record-breaking month in Europe for Model 3. And this includes an image by EV Sales Blog in which it shows the chart for Europe sales for September. And guess what we have at number 1? The Tesla Model 3. And it actually had a pretty big lead over the Renault Zoe. Not a super crazy lead, but still around 5,000 units. So that's pretty interesting because we have seen this from Tesla bears as a common criticism in which they always want to cherry pick this statistic about the European market. And so we're finally starting to see the Model 3 start to perform much better because we finally have units being shipped over to Europe. And previously, it just didn't make very much sense to ship them to Europe when you can sell them easily near the factory or near different Tesla locations. So it just didn't make sense previously. But as we've heard with the news recently, the Shanghai Gigafactory is starting to export some of their Model 3s out, which is going to help with these markets like in Europe, where there's obviously a lot of demand, but really not a lot of supply. So it's nice to see this. We have the Tesla Model 3 selling 16,125 Model 3s, the Renault Zoe at second place selling 11,026 units, the Volkswagen ID.3 placing third and selling 8,571 units. Then we have the Hyundai Kona EV, the Mercedes A250e, Kia Niro EV, and then all of these other ones as well, with the Polestar 2 being at number 18, the BMW i3 being at 13. And so we have a few different recognizable ones on this chart, but the important one to pay attention to, of course, is the top couple of ones, and especially number 1, which, as we know now, the Model 3 has taken that spot. So it's great to see this happening. We've been seeing the Model 3 make a lot of progress in Europe recently, and considering that's commonly a criticized point by Tesla bears, it's nice to see Tesla finally silencing that talking point. But anyways, please make sure to smash that like button if you enjoyed this video, and also feel free to check out Robinhood and Webull in the description below. If you sign up with my referral link, you'll get some free stocks, and especially with Webull right now, you can get 3 stocks valued up to $1,600. And to get that, all you have to do is sign up with my referral link and deposit $100 into your account. Keep in mind, you can take that $100 right back out after you get your 3 stocks. So it's basically just nice passive income with minimal effort. And this is the first time that I've ever seen Webull giving out 3 stocks per referral. So that's definitely a big deal. And I think it's a good idea to take advantage of that just because not only do you get free stocks, but it helps support the channel as well. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week.